On today's episode of WatchJRGo, you might think you're playing the video game Midnight Club Dub Edition, but this is real life. What is going on, guys? I am WatchJRGo, and today, like I said, I'm here with my new to me 2006 Mercedes-Benz CLS55 AMG. That is a lot of letters and numbers in a row, and they add up to a really, really cool German super sedan. So today we're going to talk about this car, take it for a drive, see just how bad it is. Did I make a huge mistake? And will it make it almost 12 hours back to Kansas? Because today we are here in beautiful Nashville, Tennessee. So welcome to Nashville. Let's go for a quick walk around the CLS55 AMG. Now, this thing is the Midnight Club Dub Edition look because we've got 20-inch Brabus, I think these are called V3 wheels or something like that. V2s or V3s, I'm not sure, but apparently it's a Brabus wheel, and the car is sitting on a lowering module, which gives it this absolutely flawless stance. It couldn't look better if it tried. I don't think it's possible. The first thing we have to talk about while we're up here with these giant 20-inch wheels that look incredible are the 8-piston AMG calipers that grab a hold of those front rotors to bring this thing to a stop insanely fast. It has massive brakes, and the brakes are controlled electro-hydraulically with the Sensatronic brake control. It may already be broken. I started the car and the brakes threw a fit one time already. The CLS55 AMG has special bodywork all the way around that makes it look far more aggressive than the other CLS coupes. And this is supposed to be a coupe, even though it has 4 doors. Mercedes called this a 4-door coupe. So you can see that it's got kind of a coupe roofline, but it's definitely a 4-door sedan. And I think it qualifies as a super sedan. I think this grille might be aftermarket, mostly because it doesn't fit correctly. It just doesn't seem right, and it doesn't fit correctly. You can see that big gap above the hood there. Maybe the hood's just open. Nope, the hood's not open, but the police are coming because that gap's so big that they have to arrest somebody. So my new CLS55 AMG is finished in this beautiful silver and blowing my mind with this being a 06 with the original windshield in it. You can see the seals are starting to fail and like cracking because it's old rubber, but it still has a factory windshield in it. We've got a sunroof out here, obviously auto up, down windows, everything you'd expect. I mean, we haven't even gotten inside it yet, but it's got lots of cool toys. It does have the Airmatic air suspension and a lowering module, tricking it into sitting just low enough to look perfect when it's sitting still. Quad exhausts out back with the AMG logo on them, and just listen to that thing. That M113 engine sounds so good. It's supposed to be one of the most reliable V8s that Mercedes ever built. It's a 5.4 liter V8, supercharged. We'll open the hood here in a minute, and it makes 469 horsepower, 516 foot-pounds of torque or something like that, a little over 500. And if you go back into some really old videos on my channel, there are videos of E55s making tires turn into walls of billowing white smoke. It really is a good platform that makes a ton of power, and for some reason it just keeps going like it's some kind of American muscle car. This was a crazy platform. It's always quick. 0 to 60 is like 4.2 seconds. Quarter miles in the low 12-second range. This car is nasty. And like I said, it's supposed to be a very reliable supercharged V8, and it just gets after it. Now, here in the trunk, we've got something else that's really cool. Power opening trunk, the greatest feature ever. I love it. Before we head inside the CLS55, I need to take a second to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Carly. Carly is this little bitty OBD2 dongle that you don't even notice when you throw it in your backpack. If you decide to make bad decisions like I do and go buy cars like this sight unseen halfway across the country, make sure you're taking Carly with you. Carly has an Android app, an iOS app. Install it on your phone, plug it into the car, and you can see all the codes. You can run diagnostics, you can see live data, you can do code coding. You can change factory options, enable features on some cars, BMWs, a lot of German cars in particular. It'll tell you everything you need to know about a car you're going to look at. Just plug it into the OBD2 port, scan it real quick, and you'll have live data, like I said, diagnostics, all the codes from all the modules. You can do a used car check where it scans all the modules, including the cluster and the ECU, BCM, and it checks the mileages to see if anyone's messed with the mileage on it. And lately, they've even added battery monitoring over time. So you can plug this thing in for a 24-hour period, and it'll tell you how your batteries are doing, which is something I definitely need to do on this car, but it's in such rough shape, I'm afraid to leave this plugged in because the batteries might die. So let's plug Carly in real fast and scan this thing and see what we come up with. 57 issues, look at this, guys. I'll record my screen for you here. We have a very bad here at the top. We've got air conditioning faults, and a few of them. It looks like that's gonna be a bad deal there. Both seats are having issues. Every door control module's having issues. ESP, instrument cluster, 2 transmission issues, 1 airmatic issue. Wow. 57 codes are set. But it looks like none of them are very bad. I think a lot of this is because the batteries were dead when I showed up to pick it up, which isn't a good sign, let's be honest. But it's almost to be expected with a car with a system like this in it. So take Carly with you when you head out to buy a car, use the smart mechanic features, run the used car check. It'll give you a lot of answers about a car when you're walking into a transaction that you don't really know much about. So hit the link in the description below to buy your Carly today. Thank you to Carly for sponsoring today's video and being a continued supporter of automotive creators like me. Now, back to the CLS55. But we're all here for the Midnight Club Dub Edition factor, and this car has it in spades. Take a look in the back of the trunk of this CLS55. We have an absolutely epic walled-in Rockford system. Yes, I know the dust cap is missing from that one, but Rockford Punch P3, it looks like they're 10s. I did find the dust cap, it's in the car. And then 2 Rockford amps. There's, 3 Rockford amps. One of them's not on, look at that. There's the power light's not on that bottom one. So something's going on. We've got some problems here that we're gonna have to troubleshoot. It's it's 2 ported box, 4? Guys, there's 4 of these subs. I had no idea this had 4 Punch P3 10s in the back. So what's that? 2 T600-4 amps, and I can't tell what the bottom one is, but it looks like a 1000. Oh, it's a 500-1. All right, so that's probably the sub amp there, that 500. And when we get into the car, you guys will understand why it has so many epic Rockford amplifiers in here. Power series amps, they look great. It's a great box. I love how they built this. The Mercedes logo is wrapped in Alcantara. That is one nice acrylic window. And if we open up the floor of the trunk here, we find something you wouldn't find in most Mercedes. MDF floor that somebody custom built. 2 Optima yellow top batteries. There's so much wiring making this thing work. Look at that. I think it had like some aftermarket security and it's not working correctly. Not really sure what's going on with all that, but that definitely looks like some kind of security module and I don't think it works correctly. Here's the dust cap for that P3 hanging out in the bottom of the trunk there, and a bunch of things like battery isolation. I mean, they did a lot of work to make this one banging system. So that is the absolutely amazing trunk of my new CLS55. I bought the car just for this. You guys already know, I don't care about the car. I wanted an amazing system like this to have some fun with, but now it looks like we just have a project we have to fix. Although the trunk has one more amazing surprise, the best feature of all time, power closed trunk. Every nice car should have it, and I will never forgive any nice car that does not have a power closed trunk. One more quick thing before we head inside. The seller did tell me about this, and we do have this problem solved already, but it's a very, very bad problem. These tires are Falcon Zenith 285 3520s, and I'm trying to see how old they are here. 3521, 35th week of 2021. But if we go underneath the car, yep, that's a gigantic bubble. Look at that, there's a forklift connector to power the batteries externally for car shows. Whenever you see that connector, you know this thing's been sitting at a bunch of car shows with people doing demos. So I'm starting to wonder if this was one of Rockford Fosgate's cars. If you've seen this thing in Car Audio Magazine, at SEMA or something like that, let me know. I just discovered that connector, but now all signs point to this being a real demo vehicle for some major manufacturer. And as we get inside, you'll start to see why that's probably true. Welcome inside my 2006, apparently some old show car, demo car for some audio shop or Rockford Fosgate. And check out these door panels. So it's Alcantara with nice metal surrounds put in it with 3 punch 6.5s in here. Power 6.5s. These are the big series. I thought they were punch. So we've got 3 power series 6.5s in each front door. Tweeters in the beautiful Alcantara wrapped A-pillars. Let's go inside. Woo! Look at those Rockford tweeters there. So there's the other side. Look how well they did that. It's nicely integrated. More power series speakers right there in the passenger door. A quick door tour before we move on. We've got our mirror controls right there. Driver, passenger, seat controls, 3 memories, and full auto up downs right there on the driver door. Passenger window lock if you need it. If you're driving a CLS55, I don't know why you need that. This is probably not a car for your kids. Auto lights, of course, front and rear fog lights. A million stalks for some reason. There's 3 stalks just on this side of the steering wheel, and every time I go to use the turn signals, I keep setting the cruise control, but that's just a Mercedes thing there. So the giant stalk is high beam, low beam, turn signal, and wiper. This is the power tilt telescope wheel. Everything's working. I mean, so far everything on this car does work, even if it has 57 issues that Carly showed us. Cruise is up there, a beautiful gauge cluster, 200 mile an hour on the speedometer. I think these will do about 186 or something like that. So it's no slouch. It can get pretty close to using the entire speedometer. The old, I paid for the whole speedometer, I'm gonna use the whole speedometer. You guys know how it goes. LCD fuel and coolant temps over there, and another LCD in the middle of the speedo giving us tons of data. This car only has 83,000 miles on it. And it's also cool that there's a giant AMG clock in the cluster and a tack over here. Full auto climate control as you would expect. A Kenwood Exelon head unit, double din. This might even have DVD. I haven't opened it or anything like that. Camera, we can see the rear. Oh, look at that. How cool is that? So I don't know if this opens. If we go to the menu here, it might. It looks like it even has the OBD2 input on it, so you can see OBD2 info on this screen as well. This is a nice head unit, but I guess it's probably not a DVD playing one. So back to CarPlay we go. CLS55's got this nice burlwood dash that looks incredible. It's matte, it feels good, it looks good. It's just, Mercedes killed it. This interior is absolutely on point. Now, for some reason, everything down here is broken, even though the dealership that I bought this from promised me that everything would be good, but no heated seats, no cooled seats, nothing works. So, you know, it's perfect and nothing works. They don't really go together, but I guess that's what we've got here. Down here, it looks like we've got remote base controls for the amplifiers, possibly an aux-in, I'm not sure. Maybe they were using all that for demos. And 12-volt accessory power right there. Here's what's interesting about this. I was told this car was basically perfect. No lights on the dash, no problems, just inspected by a German shop. In fact, I have the receipt from like 2 weeks ago in the glove box and pictures of it. And they said nothing was wrong except for the right rear tire, the one with the bubble in it. And it turns out a lot is wrong. We showed up to a completely flat tire, a completely dead battery. It wouldn't even start. With 2 batteries, it would not start. Put it on the jump back, got it running, and then they brought out an air compressor, and the air compressor ran for a bit and broke more of the car. So I started troubleshooting, and I pulled the fuse cover off the driver's side because the guys at the dealership had zero clue what they were doing. Like, they were just yelling things out, like, the fuse box is in the front, fuse box is in the trunk. And I was like, well, I mean, I'm on the internet and it says it's beside the driver's steering wheel. And of course it was. So I grabbed the fuse for cigar and I unplugged it. And when I unplugged it, the head unit turned back on, even though it was on originally. And everything else in the car quit working, but the cigarette lighter went back to working, which we needed to run the air compressor. And there's codes that are important, like the blower motor being under voltage. We are definitely not getting all of the blowing action out of the blower motor. Like, it's running way under volted, like half the blower motor resistor is trash. So the HVAC's reporting that the blower motor resistor is broken. I don't know how you miss that. it's a pretty simple thing to fix, and it would have shown up when that German shop checked it out. So I would blame them for a lot of this in reality. I finally turned it off after letting it charge for like 30 minutes, and when I restarted it, we had no brakes, so that's cool. And then I restarted it again, and the brakes are back, but we still have battery errors. Every time the car starts, there's a battery issue. And it's not, it has nothing to do with it not being a factory battery. It has everything to do with it not charging. Like, the batteries are trash probably. Anyway, those are the problems that happened in the first 5 minutes of seeing the car, which is another reason that I would say, like, bring something like Carly with you when you're going to check out a car. You really do need to know what's going on with this stuff before you try to drive across country with it. I think we're gonna send it, but you know, I wouldn't recommend it for most people. I wouldn't even recommend it for me. The tire's probably gonna be flat in the morning, the batteries are gonna be dead. We might not make our tire appointment. Like, it's a disaster. Back to the tour. We've got HomeLink in the mirror, which is always nice. A cool upper console that's got the beautiful lights. They kind of fade on. Yeah, look at that. So those fade on. That would be the door light cancel. Here's the rear lights. And let's see, the reading light. The mirror lights for the sun visors don't turn on either. Check that out. At least the sun visors aren't completely broken. So that's something. It does have a great sunroof that does tilt, slide, it does everything you want, and it all actually seems to work. One of the first things I did, because if you're still at a car dealership, run the sunroof through its cycles. If it breaks there, it's on them, that's for sure. One really cool thing is you hit this button and the cup holders extend. They're kind of worthless for today's cups, because now, you know, we need cup holders this big just to hold anything normal, but what a cool design. It looks like it's pretty sturdy, probably won't break. I'll give them a lot of credit for that one. Here in the center, we've got the manual mode, comfort, and sport selection button right there. Sorry about all that sun. It's nice and hot here in Nashville. Underneath that, we have the Airmatic suspension lift, so you can raise the car way up to go over curbs. And we also have the Airmatic control, comfort, sport 1 and sport 2. You just keep hitting the button and it rotates through all of its suspension modes. You also have paddle shifters in the CLS, which is pretty cool. Trunk open here in the center console, and the service reset and information buttons. And we'll flip the console back shut there. I do want to mention that these seats are amazing. They're so comfortable, but it's super unfortunate that the heated and cooled stuff's not working. The massage stuff isn't working. They are massage seats. None of it's working. So just ridiculous things that are probably all caused by them running that 12-volt air compressor on the thing too long. I really think that's what tore it up. It was running for like almost 7 minutes, 10 minutes to inflate that rear tire. Now, climbing into the back seat of the CLS, it is another wonderful place to be. The front seat is great, but the back seats are actually awesome too. What do you have to do to flip that? There we go. So it has power release to drop these headrests so you can see out of the back a little bit better. And now I can't release them, of course, because none of the buttons work in the center console. And here we can see this whole back is the port for the subwoofer box. That giant opening there is all venting to the subwoofer box. It's lighted inside there. I just noticed those lights look really cool. Giant LEDs to light up the subwoofers. Rockford power tweeters up there in the back of it. You can see those little dots back there. How nice is all of this? This is incredible. Whoever did the system really did do a good job, but it's probably old and a little bit worn. One thing about the back seats is they sit super high, way higher than the front. I can see clearly out of the windshield. Look at this, I can see everything out of the front windshield in the back. That is not something that happens in too many cars. I will say wireless CarPlay too, I should have mentioned that. Super nice, but I mean, it's a new Kenwood receiver. 4-zone climate control back here for the rear passengers. Super nice, temperature for each one of them, and you can open and close your vent. We have here, oh, that is a useful cup holder actually. Super deep and super nice there. It's got fingers so it can hold the bigger cups that we use today. And here in the center, we've got another 12-volt outlet. A lot of 12-volt outlets in this thing. There's one in the trunk too. And some storage for whatever you want. And possibly, yeah, look at that, cup holders. How do you open them? There you go. Wow, what a fancy mechanism. I know you wouldn't expect anything less, but again, Rockford power 6.5s in the back door with custom inserts. And the smoker's package, look at that. We've got the ashtrays in the rear. So we've seen everything else. Let's open the hood. Look at that, auto dimming side mirrors, as cars should have. Auto dimming rear view mirror, as you would expect. I don't know if it has auto high beams, it probably does. And let's see the M113. Here we are. The hood struts are trapped. They kind of work. But there's the supercharger, the custom, the AMG badge there was built by Goldwing. I don't know. Yeah, I can't read that anymore. It's faded from years and years of heat. So this thing's been heat cycled and had a rough life, I'm sure. It looks like somebody just put a new ABS pump on it. It looks way too new. So that makes me question that a lot. Like maybe somebody was messing around that they shouldn't have been, or it was broken. You can see the supercharger pulley right there, the clutch right up front. But you know, it looks like a normal supercharged Mercedes under the hood, nothing crazy. Not much to show you there other than the air suspension lines. At least it's not an ABC car. Airmatic is sure a lot more reliable than ABC, and apparently all the Mercedes guys tell me this is the most reliable engine ever made. So that is my new to me, incredibly nice Rockford Fosgate show car slash very broken 2006 Mercedes CLS 55 AMG. I love this car and I absolutely am worried sick about not being able to get this thing home. Tires will be fixed before we leave Nashville. I ordered them ahead of time and they're going on 2 days from now. So I have to have this thing driving on these tires for 2 days. I sure hope it makes it. Leave a comment below if you think I'll make it. I don't know. I mean, we could have just faked all of this and let it blow a tire on the side of the road, but honestly, stuck between Nashville and Kansas doesn't seem like a great place to be. It's all farmland. So that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop WatchJRGo.com for cool shirts, not like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. And I will talk to you next time. Again, huge thank you to Carly for sponsoring today's video. It was a great integration. It was the only scanner I brought with me. It worked out perfectly. It told me that this car is way more broken than what I was sold. I was sold a car that was supposed to be completely fine other than tires, and it wasn't that. Unfortunately, there's probably not a lot of recourse. I could take it back and fly home, but it's gonna cost just as much money to fix all of that as it would to just drive this thing home and deal, because I've already paid for the tires too. So I'm $1,000 into this thing. So I guess it's time to hop in and drive this thing home. I'll take you guys with me. You can see the whole journey home and if we make it.